Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's lesson. We're going to be talking about food memories, and we're going to be doing some writing today. So just an overview of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about our five senses and using them to describe our food memories, and then we're also going to do some practicing writing food memories using free writing. So you're just going to need paper, pencil, and a timer. We're going to start off with a game just to review what our five senses are. So we have our sense of touch, smell, sight, hearing, and taste. So for this game, it's just a guessing game, and I've provided you with clues using all five of the senses. So you're going to guess what food I'm describing. For touch, it has a slippery feeling. It doesn't have a smell, but if it gets too old, then it ends up smelling really, really bad. It looks like the shape of an oval. It's white on the outside and yellow on the inside. For the sound, you actually have to crack it open, so it makes a cracking sound. And it doesn't really have a taste on its own, but you usually eat it with salt and pepper, so it tastes like that. I'm going to reveal what the food is in just a second, but I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to review what some of the clues that I gave you. All right, I'm going to switch over to the next slide in 3, 2, 1. It was a hard-boiled egg. So if you didn't get that already, hopefully some of the clues make a little bit more sense now. And don't be too hard on yourself if you didn't figure it out. This was just a game so you can review the five senses because we're going to be using them later. And if you'd like, you can actually pause this video, and with a partner, you can play this game, or you can write down your answers and your clues and play this game with someone later today. So just make sure you're using your five senses to describe your food item. So what does it look like? What does it taste like? How does it feel? Does it have a sound? And does it have a smell? Because using all of the five senses will give you a broader description of what the item is, and they'll be able to figure it out a little bit better. So it's just a fun game you can play to guess different food items. So we're going on to our main activity for this lesson, which is free writing. If you haven't done free writing before, I will describe to you what it is. So essentially, you're just going to have 5 minutes of uninterrupted writing time, and you're going to just continuously write anything that pops into your head about the subject. So you want to keep your pencil moving the entire time, and you're going to even try and not pick it up from the paper at all. So because of this, we're not going to focus on spelling or grammar or punctuation. This is really just about getting your thoughts out there and seeing like what you come up with quickly. So I am going to give you an example of one prompt, and then I'll give you 2 different prompts you can choose from, and you'll have 5 minutes to write. Okay, so the prompt that I use for the example is, the first time you cook something on your own. And I'll just read to you what I wrote for this. When I was 8 years old, I would make scrambled eggs every day. It was the first thing that I ever learned to cook. I liked being able to use the stove top, and I felt like the responsibility was pretty cool. I enjoyed the sound the egg made when I cracked it in half, and I liked how it felt to break up the egg yolk with my whisk. I had a fun time playing with the slimy uncooked eggs. The eggs would change colors as it cooked, and the smell of the melted butter warmed my stomach. So I'm going to show you now. You have 2 different prompts you can choose from on the next slide, and you're going to set your timer for 5 minutes. and just write as much as you can, and just try not to stop at all. So you can choose between these two prompts. The first one is the first time that you had your favorite food. And the second one is a time you cooked something really tasty. All right, so you can just pause this video and start your timer for 5 minutes and then unpause. All right, so now we're gonna do prompt number 2, and you can choose between these two prompts. So the first one is an event where you ate a dish important to your family or culture, or a time when someone you love made something delicious. So again, you can pause this video and start your timer for 5 minutes and just continuously write. All right, so now that you have 2 different prompts written, I want you to go back and look over them and highlight or underline any of the things that you wrote down that are descriptive using your 5 senses. So I took my prompt here, and you can see that I underlined this part where I talked about the sound the egg makes when it's cracked. I talk about how it felt to break up the sticky egg yolk. I said it was slimy, and I also talked about the smell. So go back and underline anything that is one of your 5 senses. So now we're going to talk with either a partner or someone else in the room and reflect on the food memory that you had. You can share one of those prompts, or you can talk about these questions here. So, how did it feel to share a food memory? Why is it important to our lives? Why is food important to our lives? How is it important to other students or people's lives? And what senses came up the most when you tried to describe your food memory? So again, you can talk with a partner, you can write it down, or you can talk to someone right now or later on today about this and just share your food memory with them. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me for this lesson.